We doing cameras? Well, okay, you doing camera?
I'm doing camera. Welcome into the Depressed Dallas Boys podcast, where we talk on everything Cowboys and the NFL. I'm your host Noah, joined by Justin and Cabe. And is that an unfamiliar face in Damien joining
No,
us for the
no.
podcast? Welcome
It's not
in,
me.
Damien. It's
It's
been a
AI. It's AI.
it's been a long time coming, man. All right, we got a lot to talk about that we're wanting to get to. Let's just break down the big piece of news we got today. The Dallas Cowboys have solved their wide receiver 2 problem by trading for George Pickens, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh. And they traded a third and a seventh to do it. They also get a sixth in 2026 to do it. Guys, what are our initial thoughts? What are our initial thoughts on the
We got a
George
thug.
Pickens
We
trade?
got a thug. We got a thug. We have a thug. We
We got
have
a
a
whiny.
great thug. We have a
We got a crash out, a certified one.
we got the biggest fucking energy that we needed since Dez Bryant. That's what we need.
Bro, and a guy like
Hey,
Stefano,
hey, Brian Schottenheimer says, "Fuck all that leadership. Give me a thug. We need a
give me a
thug."
thug. I feel like Brian a little black, got a little black in him, man. He's trying to get the thugs in here,
Okay,
boy.
okay, pal. Okay, pal. Okay.
I mean, it solves your wide receiver 2 problem, right? Like,
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not even a wide receiver too. It's a 1A to the 1B. Like, what are we
I
looking?
Oh, you know, he's wide receiver too now, pal.
I
It's
don't
season
know.
fucking long.
I don't know if I ever saw George Pickens as like a true number one. He just never showed it per se in Pittsburgh, but he did have Mason Rudolph and Justin Fields and washed up
Yeah, he never
Russell
had a
Wilson
QB
thrown to
one.
him.
And he could never stay on the field long enough because he was always getting in the fights. You know what I'm saying? Getting
Yeah.
suspended and shit.
Um.
That's the only thing I'm scared about.
Who would y'all would have preferred though, J-Mo or George Pickens?
Oh,
George Pickens.
George Pickens, because
George
Dak,
Pickens.
Dak likes to throw sideline balls
Yeah.
and jump balls.
He's a perfect outside receiver, man. Like he's not the best route runner, but when you need him to go deep and you need him to hit a pretty good slant, you know what I'm saying?
And he's
Hey,
great.
Cade,
He has
let me-
great hands, bro.
I
Great
wouldn't have
hands.
been. I wouldn't have been mad at either though. Like if you got Jamison Williams instead of Pickens, I would have been like just as happy. I
J-Mo
mean,
would have been more expensive,
Jamo's
though.
speedy.
That's
Jamo's
true.
more speedy, but
He
I
would have been
need
more
somebody.
expensive, though.
oh yeah.
I need somebody gonna get those 50-50 balls like Gallup was doing back in the day.
Well,
Like KU said, he's the LeBron and Michael Gallups.
The problem with getting George Pickens is he's on a 1 year deal now. He's on an expiring contract. So if he has a very good year, he's going to price himself out of Dallas's market. So that's why I'm a little iffy about the trade value. I don't know if I would have given up a third for him. That is the definition, though, for anybody who might have been wondering. That is all in. Like you're going all in for this year. You drafted a running back. You got your offensive line figured out. There's no more excuses. There just isn't. You still have some question marks at corner. You still have some question marks at linebacker, but you know there's no excuses for Dak anymore. So I'm a Dak supporter. I've always been, but dude, you have the most explosive potentially explosive offense that you've had since Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. You cannot fail this time around. You can't.
And I agree because Dak, we're going into year 10 now, and what the sample size we have gotten and all the asterisks you want to put on his career in the playoffs, that doesn't matter now because now Jerry has given you everything you need. He's giving you the front seven. He's giving you the linebackers, a plethora of them. He's giving you the secondary. He's giving you the running back. He's giving you a top 10 O line that is going to be the wall of Tyler plus a Johnny. Then you got the damn wide receiver one, a superstar. Then you got a almost proven superstar George Pickens on the outside. Then you got Tolbert, who's a reliable touchdown threat. What else do you need, Dak? Come on, man.
Yeah.
And I've loved Dak since we drafted him, but it's at some point you got to deliver. And that 2-5 is not looking good when a rookie makes it to the NFC Championship before you, and your Eagle rival has made 2 Super Bowls and has won 1. So it's like I'm not saying you got to go comp, but it's like, come on, we going to year 10, bro. It's time to do what you need to do and win us a Super Bowl, or at least get us to an NFC Championship this year.
At least. I mean, come on,
At
man.
I
least.
agree. I
He
agree.
has to change something though.
Yeah, I mean, he has to do something. Like, it's going to become a lot harder to defend Dak unless he gets hurt again, which then it's impossible to defend him. But if Dak doesn't do well this year, it becomes impossible to defend him.
Yeah.
The only ways I see being able to is if the team explodes. You know, everybody gets hurt. Brian Schottenheimer sucks as a head coach, which even still, he doesn't have to be
still
a
gonna
great
blame
head
Dak.
coach.
They're still gonna blame Dak, though.
Yeah.
You know it.
But, you know, running back's still a little bit of a question. You know, you drafted Jaden Blue in the 5th round. You got what's the guy's name? Phil Maffa in the 6th or 7th. I mean, you have good running backs. You have a good running back in Jaden Blue who has shown what he can do at Texas, although a little bit limited. But you still have 2 reliable, proven guys ahead of them if they need some time to cook and develop. And you know, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders can be something. We don't know what he can be. I don't see Miles Sanders making the team outside of training camp.
We got so many running backs now. We got like 5 now.
Well,
almost.
I mean,
still got Deuce Vaughn and Hunter Lipke's like a, you know, hybrid, like running back / fullback.
He's a
So I don't know.
fullback.
Yeah.
He's a fullback. But, yeah.
Or
I'm
halfback. if you want to call it.
I mean,
still-
it depends on how much they want to
halfback,
use Hunter. I mean, it really does. A lot of teams don't have a fullback on their roster anymore. They just put a tight end there. So that's why he's been cross-training at that tight end spot. But even still, they don't really need a tight end either. They've got really good, you know, tight ends and
Oh shit, I forgot about our tight ends.
yeah, and Jake Ferguson and Schoonmaker, and even a couple of the undrafted guys are pretty good. You still have John Stevens, who has shown that he can be good.
I like Spanford.
Brevin Spanford's been very good. They just got
Shoemaker.
I can't remember his name, Tyler or something. The guy that was blind and deaf when he was born, or deaf when he was born. Excuse me. So, I mean, there's no excuses at this point. You filled all your holes that left in free agency. You got a steal in Siobhan Ravel. Can we talk about that for a second?
Oh my god, I don't. Okay, you go.
My fault. After the George Pickens trade, this might be the best Cowboys. This has the potential to be the best Cowboys draft since the '90s if it all works out, in my opinion.
Even
You got
2020 and
3 first-round
2021.
talents, bro. Huh?
Even 2020 and 2021.
Well, you only got. I'm talking about. Look, you got 3 first-round talents. This was a solidified 2nd-round pick. You can't even name the person we drafted after Micah Parsons.
Right.
Okay, Kelvin Joseph.
Kelvin
It was
Joseph.
And then Chauncey Golston. And then
No, but I'm talking about the 2nd round.
yeah.
You got 3 first-round talents in back-to-back rounds. And the potential of Jaden Blue, if his upside is really what it is supposed to be, if he taps like 50% of that, with Phil Maffa getting in some runs, that D tackle we got from UCLA, if Shamar James that's 20 years old could tap into his potential,
I heard he's been cutting up in camp, bro. Woo.
I'm telling you, look, if all of them at least get to at least 70% of what they're supposed to be, this is easily the best draft we've had since like the Troy Aikman or the Michael Irvin, but the 1990s draft.
Yeah.
In my
Hey
opinion.
guys, let's shed a little light on the 1-year rental linebackers we got. Also, Kenneth Murray is still a great tackler. I feel like even if one of those running backs get to the 2nd level, we could stop the run near there. And I'm excited for Sanborn and them.
You got Jack Sanborn too.
Sanborn is a dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
Like our linebacker core about to be tough, especially with Shamar James coming alive if he can. Like, oh my god, bro.
And you have a
just
2nd year
worried about-
Maurice Weafau too. He played pretty good down the
Hey,
stretch.
Leopold was always trying to get that ball out, like forcing fumbles, bro. Like
Maurice, boy. He's definitely going to fill in for what Demo is going to have. I just hope we don't rush Demo back because I heard they're trying to rush him and Diggs back. But, you know, let's have Demo come in later, especially if, you know, we're losing in mid-season. So,
So
man,
Bring them in like after like week 4, week 5. See how they
Yeah.
do.
this team looking bright, bro. This team looking
I'd say see how the season starts, like Damien said, just see how it starts, and then you know if the Cowboys are looking like true contenders, like they should, then you know rush those guys back a little bit, or not rush them back, but see how they're progressing.
Ease them in.
Yeah, ease them in. You've still got
What about
Deron
the
Bland as a
I
corner.
was like, give me about the week.
Yeah, I would do it. I would do that too. I mean, don't rush these guys back. I think that was Sean Lee's whole problem was he was always trying to rush back, and he was an amazing linebacker. He just couldn't stay on the damn field.
I
So
remember he went on the sideline after he cut his lip and was like out of there for like 5 plays.
yeah,
I don't remember what year.
so this team has the potential, like they always do, to be very good, but they need injuries to stay out of the way. Thankfully, you don't have a question mark at really any position other than the running back and linebacker spots. You have solidified talents at every single position. You know what you have.
I say safety is
Safety, yeah, I was just about to say it's a little.
a dark horse weak
Oh,
spot.
darn.
Well,
Yeah.
at the same time, though, if your defensive line does its job, your safeties, you don't have to have super strong safeties if your defensive line does its job. You can
This
get
Donovan
you can get
Wilson
by
last
with
year, right?
yeah.
With his
What if the
contract.
ball's in the air and a safety it's cover 2 or cover 4? Well, palms, as they say. If it's cover 2, your safety can't make a job on the sidelines or like they're supposed to make, or read the middle of the field on cover 3 and cover 1, then it's a problem. You
Yeah.
always gonna need a safety that's gonna know his job and have the talent to do so. Malik Hooker, he's a solid safety, but if we're running a two high safety like we always do with a safety in the dime package or dollar package that we run sometimes, you're gonna need another high safety that's gonna be capable. And Wanye has a capability to be a stud. Same with Israel Mukwambu.
Did we move Israel to safety?
Israel's
He's a
hybrid.
tweener. Yeah, he's a tweener.
He's a tweener. Yeah.
Plays
But I just
better
hope
at
that we
nickel.
use them because there's no way we resign them and we're not using Israel because I feel like every time Israel's in the game, he's making a play. Like he's always been a dark horse to make a play.
We felt the same
but
way about Donovan Wilson at one point. Remember that?
we did. And Donovan's
Well, Darren
regressing. I'm
Wilson has
sorry.
been a player to me. He just like it's like
He's
the same
regressing
thing.
though,
You go,
Cade.
huh?
He's regressing though, Cade. You got to see it.
He's
a
30 years old.
He's a sixth-round pick.
He's 30.
Former sixth-rounder, 30 years old. I mean, at what point do you just go, hey, okay, he's doing what
That's
he
who he
can.
is. Yeah.
I mean, he's already done better than what anybody expected him to do.
Yeah.
So just kind of breaking down some of the other picks, everybody keeps complaining about the Tyler Booker pick, and
No.
I don't understand that. It's not Cowboys fans that are complaining about it. It's analysts. They're saying
As
that
a former hater of the pick because I was mad we couldn't get Matthew Golden, even though after seeing what Matthew Golden dropped all the way to, I'm mad. Bro, he was the best guard in the draft. Cave said it so many times. I looked it up. That boy was a beast at Alabama. Once
Yeah.
I found out that was Tyler Booker from Alabama, I was like, oh, shit.
yeah. Well, if anybody remembers when I was live for the NFL draft, we both had the same reaction of, oh my God, are you serious? I didn't do any kind of research on Tyler Booker because I had been focusing on all
Sound barrier.
late round guys. Yeah, Justin broke the sound barrier, but he's as polished and as good of a guard you can get, and it was a very big question mark for Dallas. I don't think they had a high value on Matthew Golden, and
I don't think so.
Yeah.
they didn't need tight end. They're
Didn't they say that they didn't have him in the first round as a first round talent?
They said we were
swear.
going. They said if Tet was there, we were going to draft him. But of course, Tet went to the Panthers, so we said let's fill our need. Zach Martin just retired. Tyler Booker's right there. Why not
Yeah.
go get him? And like you said, Matthew Golden wasn't. We weren't really high on him. Like Jerry did say, we didn't see him as a first round guy.
I've never been.
We got Matthew Golden did get the first round hype until he ran that 4.2. Nah.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
He was a consistent
I
second
was always
round
hearing
pick.
Luther Burden. I was hearing Tet, and then I was hearing
Emeka
what's his
Buka,
name?
bro.
Emeka
Yeah.
Buka. That was it. I didn't hear
That
Matthew
was a
Golden to
really
the
good
combine.
I didn't like the value of Matthew Golden. I know his physicals and stuff are great, and they're everything you want to see in a receiver. But he went to Texas after stepping up from Houston, and he didn't match his production. So everybody's kind of forgetting that he didn't break 1,000 yards in college. I don't know if he got hurt. So if I'm wrong on that, then okay, I apologize.
Texas
But
had a great wide receiver room, bro. They
Yeah.
had a great one. So it wasn't like
Bonds,
no injury. It was just the amount of talent. They had Bond, Wingo, DeAndre Moore. They had Matthew Golden. They had that tight end Gunnar Hill. It was just too many weapons to leave off the field. That it had one ball.
I was a little sad to see Dallas didn't draft any of my guys. I gotta say, but I am happy to announce that 28 28 out of the 37 guys that I did videos on all got drafted, and everybody that I've done a video on has been signed up to this point. So everybody's off. Even DJU got signed. He went to the Chargers, which is a little shocking to me. I don't know where.
Well, guys, I'll be back.
I don't know where Daquan Felton went, but anyway. So yeah, I mean Dallas did pretty good. Dallas did pretty good for for their draft. I don't think they reached anywhere. You know, they got good value picks everywhere they picked. I was a little sad to see Jalen Royals not be there. Who was?
Jaden Blue might have been a reach, depending on who you ask, but it's still a good pick in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, once you get down to the 5th round, you know, you don't really reach on players. You know, of course, if you draft a guy that's like, oh my God, he was supposed to be undrafted, that's a little bit different. But I don't think
Like they're more like experimental, no?
Right.
Experimental.
Yeah, they're more experimental. Once you get to the 5th round, you kind of just throw darts at a dartboard. You know, who do you like? Value doesn't really become a necessity in the 5th round. Unless there's a guy like Sheduer or someone like that falls to the 5th round, then they shouldn't be there. But I mean, I'm not upset. What would we grade the Cowboys draft?
I give it like a B plus.
B plus? What do you think they could have done
bro.
better?
A plus. I got A. Fuck that.
Damien, if you get a B plus, what could they have done better?
I feel like they could have. I don't know. I feel like we kind of reached on Shamar. What is his last name?
Shamar James?
James. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like we could have gotten a better linebacker there, but I don't know.
I was kind of hoping that Jeffrey Bassa would be an option for Dallas, but
I kind of wanted that UCLA linebacker.
Carson Swessinger. Oh God, he was.
Yeah.
He went first pick in the second.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great selection by the Browns, by the way. Now that they don't know what's going to happen with JOK, that's a good pickup. So yeah, you know, Dallas has pretty much filled all of their holes that they needed to fill, in terms of, you know, who they were going to pick up, or who they needed. Excuse me. And there's just no excuses anymore. You know, I think we're kind of at the point where we do this every year, where we're like, we can win. But Dallas is in the best spot that they've been in the last few years. They have drafted a ton of players, by the way. Tommy Agamben-Sodi, I think I said his name right. The last pick of the draft, and Jay Toya are both good run stoppers. So both of those guys, welcome back, Justin. Both of those guys are very, very good run stoppers. Jay Toya, by the way, for anybody who might be wondering, adds absolutely nothing to pass rush. He is not a pass rusher. He does not generate pressure. He is a pass rusher.
He's a one tech.
Yeah, he is a nose tackle. That's what you need. So, any other thoughts on the draft? Any players that you think shouldn't have? Any teams that you think did a bad job during the draft?
Browns.
The Browns. Yeah.
You know, if your whole plan was still to get
Steelers too.
If your whole Steelers had a great draft in my opinion. I ain't gonna lie, that Caleb Johnson and that Derek Harmon.
That carries. That carries hard.
So, yeah.
That carries their draft
I say
hard.
The Browns, they could have got a wide receiver in that 3rd round or another lineman, and they chose a quarterback. Your whole plan was still to get Shedeur Sanders. Which there were rumors that Andrew Berry was still trying to trade up in the 4th round to get Sheduer, even the 3rd round to get Sheduer. but yet you still have the. What are you watching in the background though? Is that Aiden Ross, bro?
I don't know. I just
Some type
left
of
my
shit.
TV on.
But yeah, your whole plan was still to get Shedeur. You draft Dylan Gabriel third round.
Yeah.
Why just get him? Why you? If let's say the Cards did fall in their position, they could have got Shedeur in the fifth round away. Get a receiver, get an offensive lineman, do something that
Hey,
could help
Cade,
your quarterback.
everybody knows the consensus is Cam Ward, so why not just keep the Shedeur pick? You get Shedeur, and you know the consensus around the league is that Shedeur is probably not going first round. He's falling. So why the fuck do you not just draft Travis and then later draft Shedeur? Like, it's so
I
stupid.
disagree.
And then you
The Browns didn't need a DB.
Yeah, they didn't need a
player
DB
like-
or a receiver at that point.
At that point, they didn't need either of those, bro. So they needed interior D lineman help, which they got a great player in Mason Graham. So we can't be mad at the draft up until the Dylan Gabriel pick.
That
They
was
just fucked up their whole draft.
I mean, the
that doesn't
Browns.
make any sense.
If you take out the two picks, okay, if you take out the third and the fifth that they drafted, and you just make one of those picks, it's a very good draft by the Browns. But it's horrible positional value. I lost. Cabe, I think Cabe, were you with me when I lost my mind at the Browns picking Sheduer? It's like, why? It makes no sense because you have Kenny Pickett, who you traded for. You gave up pretty good draft capital to get him. You have a fan favorite in Joe Flacco. You have a $200 million quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who's hurt and won't play this year.
Assaulter.
Yeah. And you spent a premium pick on Dylan Gabriel and then another pick in the fifth round on Shedeur Sanders. And
So you got the sexual assaulter, you got the favorite QB veteran, you got the first round bust, then you got the two rookie QB battle for fourth and fifth.
yeah.
What a
That's
day!
still a bad idea, bro. At most four quarterbacks, and that the fourth one should have been either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur. You just made a bad business move, bro.
The bad thing
like that
is,
no point.
Locker room's gonna
You
be-
have to- you
yeah,
have
the
to
locker
keep-
room is what I was going to bring up. The bad thing
You
is
want to keep Cobb on.
every one of them are going to be a pain in the ass to cut because they're all
And they
locker
want to
room
be a
guys.
starter,
Yeah,
and they all want to be a starter.
they all
And
want to
it's
be a
like,
starter.
You see the reaction that they had when they drafted Dylan, and then when they drafted Shedeur, it's like, you got to prove it, bro. Dylan, oh my God, Dylan, I'm so happy. You got to prove it, Shedeur. We're gonna take a chance on you. It's like somebody forced them to say, all right, Shedeur's still there, just get him.
Yeah,
No,
It was never their plan to go get Shedeur, bro.
No, it was. It was their plan.
And why did they draft Dylan Gabriel first?
No. Nigga, listen real quick. Shit.
I'm just on it.
The reason they got Dylan Gabriel was solely because they wasn't really too sure about how Sheduer was going to be, like, anyway. Like, how he was going to be right in the head or something. What was her name? Noah. Remember, I told you, a great night's sleep can change a whole lot of shit. I told you that specifically. They went to bed. They started doing some more interesting things. Reviewing Sheduer. They said, "No what? That guy's a fucking Brown." They said, "No, we just gonna pull that trigger. That guy's a fucking Brown."
I have a different theory. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it came down to Jimmy Haslam, the owner, came down and said, "You fucking draft him."
Yeah,
You know.
why we take so long?
See,
Sheduer has a job. I think Sheduer has a job unless he just completely shits the bed. Because the whole locker room, I mean the whole locker room wants Sheduer to start.
The bad
David
thing,
and Joku to Myles Garrett, bro.
the bad
He
thing
has the
is,
highest jersey sale by a
Yeah,
fifth round
that's what I
rookie
was about to
of all
say.
time. That's crazy.
the bad thing is with the Cleveland Browns is they put themselves in this bad situation. Okay, they can't cut any of these guys without getting pushback because Joe Flacco is probably the easiest one to cut, but he is a fan favorite. He took Cleveland to the playoffs a couple years ago. They traded a shit ton of draft capital to get Kenny Pickett. They paid Deshaun Watson $200 million guaranteed. Now he's hurt, so obviously you can't cut him anyways. But you drafted Dylan Gabriel with a premium pick. You can't cut him because then you wasted a premium pick. And if you cut Sheduer, you're gonna get murdered in the media. So
They're gonna lose a lot of money.
They're-
They're gonna lose a lot of money.
they're in a lose-lose
Like Raymond
situation.
Harris said, Why Cleveland? Why?
They're
Why
not going to
Browns?
carry 4
No
quarterbacks,
way.
right?
No,
Why the hell is
I ain't
Damien
gonna they
Harris in
have to
CBS?
carry. Two of them gonna be on practice squad. It's gonna be Gabriel and Shedeur on
They're
practice
not
squad.
going to get to the practice squad. You have to cut them to get them to the practice squad.
Dylan's not
Neither
going
of
to
them
practice
will.
squad. Shedeur,
No.
I don't know.
I ain't gonna lie. It's either Kenny Pickett or Flacco that's gonna be cut. It's still
But
gonna
then
be
you
a
trade
tough.
draft capital to
Yeah.
get Pickett.
It's
What was
you
the
see
point?
you see the
They're in a
problem?
tough position.
It's
They're in a
like
tough position.
it's how you cut Flacco and fuck fans because like, bro, there was no point.
Can I
I got a
also
question, bro.
What's up?
So look, is it really a bad idea if one of the motherfuckers work out? If Dylan Gabriel or Sheduer just turns out to be the greatest thing
I
since
mean,
sliced bread?
no.
Is it really a
You
bad
won't be
idea?
talking about it anymore.
Two in it.
So, can we
They're
also
gonna put two in it.
talk about the Atlanta
No, let me
Falcons
see.
garbage draft as well?
I don't think the Falcons had a bad draft, bro.
I think they had a bad draft on one pick alone, and that's the James Pierce pick.
they
Solely,
traded-
yeah,
Damn.
solely because they
They traded
traded
their first round.
traded up. What did they moved like they were at the top of the first round or second round, excuse me, and they traded back into the first to get James Pierce. They traded a first, a second, and a third to do so. You are banking a ton of draft capital on a guy who has character issues and hasn't developed amazingly. But he is a freak
kept
athlete.
telling Noah the first two rounds that some of these teams are getting like worried or some shit, so they keep trading up. All the trades we kept sawing were for players that were like, bro, you could have got them later. So I was like guys like Jackson Dart and all that shit. I was like, bro, what is going on here? Like, are y'all getting worried that these guys are getting drafted? Like, I know this is a cool draft, but like, bro, some of these guys you could have got in your regular pick. Like, it was insane. Sorry, you go there.
The Saints also, I don't think, had an amazing draft. They didn't have a terrible draft, but they're weighed down pretty heavily by one pick. And that's drafting Tyler Shook, a 25-year-old rookie quarterback with accuracy problems and hasn't had a healthy season but 1 year in the second round. He's 25 years old. He's going to be 29 years old by the end of his rookie contract.
I don't even think Saints
Those
fans
are gonna be in the
they got Dylan Gabriel second round, bro.
Bro, Shedeur was right there, but that's for a later. That's for a later date with me and Noah getting to that. Right.
Jalen Milrow was right there, bro.
Yeah,
Jalen Milrow
I would have
played
taken.
for the Seahawks. Are
I
you
would have
dumb?
taken Jalen. I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
good.
why not take him? He's young.
Right,
He's
but-
got all the tools to develop. Why not take Jalen Milrow? Why do you have to take Tyler Shook?
The only knock against Jalen Milrow was that he was losing the big games. The man still had a good year. I was only getting bad on.
And he's young.
His accuracy is like his deep ball is pretty good, but everything else, bro, it needs work. So I can see that part. But
You
he's
can work
not.
on the intangibles.
But
you can work on the intangibles.
At the same
like,
time, the Saints aren't competing for anything. So what are they drafting a proven quarterback for? I mean, I like
we don't know
Tyler
what the
Shook.
Saints
Don't get
are
me
doing.
wrong. I just
we don't
didn't
know what
understand the
Saints are doing.
value.
They don't have no wide receiver help. They only got Olave. Their defense is going in shambles and getting old as hell. And
They got
Kamara,
Shaheed.
we don't know what they're gonna do with Kamara. Yeah, Shaheed, cool, a deep threat. What else?
That's a good
Olave,
receiver, though. Hold on, bro.
Olave can't stay on the field half the time. The O-line
Because his
horrendous.
quarterback throws hospital balls. His
That
quarterback
is
gives
true.
him CTE.
That is
What
true.
the fuck?
Jared Carr likes to throw them bitches up. He's like,
I mean, man.
he's the definition of Olave's down there somewhere. Fuck it, and he just throws it. Olave gets decked and is out for
That's Derek Carr.
15
That's Derek
weeks.
Carr.
I mean, look, the Saints they baffled me on how they handled it. I mean, I get if you don't like Sheduer, but at the same time, there were other quarterbacks other than Sheduer that were there that were probably better options for a rebuilding team. So this
We're talking a lot about Shedeur, but how did anybody let Quinn Ewers fall all the way to the 7th round, bro?
yeah,
That's
and then
crazy.
the
He was
Dolphins
very
picked him, which was the weird
The
part.
Dolphins. Hey, I'm gonna be
No,
mad
it
at
wasn't
he
weird,
takes
bro.
Tua's spot because Tua wants to be a dumbass and go with his head again. I'm just saying, I don't want to wish injury on Tua, but we know how this nigga play, bro. I wouldn't be
No,
surprised if Quinn ain't playing by game 5, by week 5, bro.
Tua just has too much of an ego that he doesn't want to look like a bitch. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know, every
He just
football
want to
player.
show niggas that he ain't scared, bro. after getting all them concussions. He just want to show niggas, and that's gonna kill himself, bro. He gonna be like talking colors and hearing numbers by the time he's 40, bro. I'm not trying, bro. He like, come on now.
I
He's
mean,
gonna turn out like Junior
His whole
Seau, bro.
language gonna be sound like a cadence when he's 60 years old, bro. Blue Raiders!
Bro's gonna have
That's
a
all
word
that's all that nigga gonna be saying, bro.
He's gonna turn out like a Junior Seau or Aaron Hernandez, bro. And I don't want that to
I
happen
wouldn't
to
say
him.
all
But,
that. I wouldn't
bro,
say that. I would
the way
hope
he's
that.
yeah, I
these
wouldn't say that.
concussions,
I wouldn't say
I
that.
wouldn't hope that on
the
nobody.
way he's playing
Hernandez,
right now,
I don't
they
know.
literally told
Hernandez
him
said
he
that
should not
before
play anymore.
the NFL,
The
bro.
doctors medically told him you should retire, and he said, "Fuck no, I'm still going."
Hernandez was just fucking insane though. Before he got into football, he was
In high school,
insane.
he was crazy, bro.
Yeah, he was crazy in high school.
Yeah,
Junior
high school, he
Seau
was
was a lot different, and he also didn't kill people. He took his own life. You know, rest in peace. But you know, Tua
It's
needs.
the worst football player.
That just comes with the game, bro. That just comes with the game. Someone's gonna get it.
But why go head first on that play? When he went head first in that game, I think Thursday night or whatever.
It was
It's
against
like, bro, all you had-
Bengals, right?
all you
Bills,
had
yeah.
to do was slide, bro. You didn't have to do all that, bro. You're the quarterback. You paid you $200+ million to be our franchise, and you're putting your life on the line just so you can get extra yards, man. You remind me of Dak when trying to do that shit in his ankle. Like, bro,
Nah, that wasn't.
That was a
nah,
yeah, I
that's
think
just
that
a
was more of a
accident,
freak.
bro.
freaky ass
That's
nigga.
just a freak accident. That's
Yeah,
not.
that was a freak accident.
No one went here for. Look, Dak had the stiff arm. The dude just launched on the Dak and like tried to pull his weight down.
Yeah,
That's just a freak.
it was just a freak
You can't
accident.
do that. You can't injure that leg again if you even wanted to, bro.
Bro, I still see that shit move. All right, let's
So-
get back on top.
Yeah, so you know, Quinn Ewers. I don't get the fit for Miami. Maybe they're just getting quarterback insurance, but
You want Dan Marino 2.0?
I mean, Quinn Ewers he's all right. Just
You're turning into next Tom Brady.
But no,
Oh
when
my
you
God.
see what happened,
Don't
with
say that,
them
Damien.
benching Arch Manning, and Quinn coming back, he still played good enough to get them back to the playoffs. Yes, that game, I forgot who they played, but it wasn't his best. But he
he's just
still was able to persevere.
he's
and
just
come
not
back.
impressive as a quarterback. Like he does everything right, but he doesn't do anything amazingly. You know, he's very normal.
Like a good average.
Yeah,
He's
good
like,
average
how-
quarterback.
You know how they say the centers are like, the old centers are like, the dunk guys. He reminds me of the old, 2010s sit in the pocket, those
Yeah.
statue quarterbacks, the Ben Roethlisberger, Breeze, and all them.
Hear me out though. How much can you say that to him being healthy? He wasn't never able to show his true self because he's been healthy all 3 of his years playing college football. Let's be real. He had an AC joint and a abdominal strain. Was it a oblique injury? Every year he's played college football, he's been hurt. He's played hurt. He's been hurt.
He
So
should
how
have
much can
stayed.
you say?
Miami loves injury-prone quarterbacks, don't they?
Tua wasn't injury prone in college. He just had that one hip injury that was a freak injury.
Yeah, that was something that should have ended his career. That was a pretty bad injury. Bad time to get your first.
Hey, Tua used to sling that hoe. Now he could
Bruh,
throw a
he's
50-yard
slinging.
bomb here and there. But man,
It's
that's
still a little behind, though. Still a little behind, but hey.
I mean,
he still got a good arm in my opinion.
Got a great arm. Still a
It's
little behind,
interesting.
Field, though.
Steelers got the most unoriginal quarterback in Will Howard. Not a bad pickup. Excuse me, gosh.
Hey, in the trash QB class, that's not that bad.
All these quarterbacks fell, which is exactly what should have happened.
Yep.
I mean, Jackson Dart, just whatever. Taking him in the first round is a little interesting to me. Trading up to get him.
First round to get Jackson Dart.
Well,
So he would've
hold
been in
on.
the second,
You
too.
also got to think, bro. The Browns could have got Jackson Dart in the second round. So
Yeah.
really, if they wanted to get their guy, they had to go get him there. So you can't be mad at that, bro.
You had
In
to
my
jump
opinion.
ahead of the other two QB needy teams, and the only way you were going to do that was getting ahead of the Browns in round 2.
Hey,
So
who else the Browns draft? I forgot. Didn't they draft like a running back or something?
yeah, they drafted 2 running
They
backs,
got Judkins. They got Judkins.
Judkins
Judkins.
and Sampson.
Sheesh.
Yeah, but Samson was a 4th rounder, which is.
And I was mad.
I was surprised he got drafted after R.J. Harvey. I'm surprised RJ
RJ
Harvey got
Harvey went that
drafted.
high, bro.
Yeah,
It's like RJ
I was happy when I saw
No,
that.
RJ Harvey.
who he got drafted by again? I forgot.
Broncos.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I can't wait to see him in that.
It was
in that
it was
orange plush.
Shook, R.J. Harvey, and Francis Mauigoa were the 3 guys that got
So
drafted.
let's talk about the Chargers. Getting scared and drafting the Marion Hampton in the first round, bro. Can somebody tell me why that fuck that happened?
They definitely either didn't want to pick Marion Hampton and panicked, or it's just a bad pick. I mean,
You didn't need one. You just got
signed
Najee
Najee.
Harris.
They signed Najee Harris just to draft Najee Harris, bro.
it's
That's literally-
funny.
Don't they have J.K. Dobbins too?
No, not yet.
Dobbins is a free agent.
I mean, that might be a good 1-2 punch, but they're the
But you
same.
need it though.
They're the same player type, bro.
And then they already have a running back that was starting to come up.
I could see Najee being like a mid-season trade option, maybe.
Yeah.
It depends on how Hampton does.
Yeah. I mean, when you looked at when they showed the war room on the draft, I was like, wow, they do not look happy. They don't look happy. They look like they were trying to trade and nothing formulated, so they just said, fuck it, he's there, pick him. I
I'm
mean,
just happy that Travis Hunter was so happy, man. The way when he got drafted, he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to the Browns, Jacksonville. I'm going back home."
I'm
And they
happy.
gave him a little Jennifer Hudson.
I'm
That's
happy
right.
for Maxwell Harrison, man.
I'm happy for him, bro.
I'm happy for Liam Cohen, bro. 'Cause, man, Jacksonville finna be scary if they just do what they're supposed to do. And they
And
really
T-Law.
didn't
Trevor
give
Lawrence
up
just
a
plays
lot.
good.
They didn't even give up
Yeah.
a lot to get Travis Hunter in my
T-Law need to stay healthy.
Yeah,
and he
T.O.
get
need to
better.
stay healthy. He does well. I think that could be a good team down there.
And I feel like Trevor Lawrence, the only problem with him is, of course, staying healthy and not being so interception prone. He still, I feel, has a chance to be a top 10. He probably still is in that top to 15.
Great top 10.
He's only 24.
He's only 24, right? So it's like, if he cleans that up, you got the weapons. You got the O-line. You got a pretty good defense.
They don't have the O-line.
Okay, they don't have the
Yeah.
O-line. They don't have the O-line. Let me chill. I was just spanning over. But you got a okay enough team to break out, at least get 30 touchdowns this year, no?
Yeah,
Weren't
like
they
his
starting to
third
win
year when he went to the
late
playoffs.
last year?
Last
what?
year, he got injured, I think.
Didn't they start to win?
After they got
That was the
injured?
2023 season when they went like
Yeah.
6-0. When they went 6-0, you talking about?
No, he's saying didn't they last year? When Trevor Lawrence got hurt, did they start to win?
No,
don't think
they
so.
started to lose.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's what
they were.
Damien said. I couldn't really hear him too much, but yeah, they were bad without Trevor Lawrence. So, I
And
mean,
my boy Bashal Tootin going to the.
so
Damn, I forgot who got drafted. Who?
let's get into the elephant in the room. Me and Justin disagree on this quite a bit. And that is why Shedeur Sanders fell. Let me break down my point first. I have never viewed Shedeur Sanders as a first-round talent because he has clear issues in his game. This QB class is not strong at all. It was never strong to start. He was always behind the consensus number one in Cam Ward. So Shedeur Sanders dropped, according to reports, because he flunked and failed his pre-draft interviews. He came into his pre-draft interviews as overconfident, cocky, needing to be humbled, and arrogant. And if that's all true, it doesn't surprise me that he fell to the 5th round. Now, if Shedeur Sanders came into those pre-draft interviews and aced them, basing it off of his stats, there's no reason why he should have fell as far as he did. So that's why the only reason why I say that those actually are the reason why he fell. That's why he fell, because there's no other reason why he would. Then you take into the consideration that he's posting on Twitter saying that, reacting to the Browns not giving him number 2 when he's a 5th-round quarterback who did nothing to deserve that number. The Browns are trying to humble him. They're trying to take some of that confidence away. Because the issue...
Oh, Shedeur didn't react to not getting number 2. He was actually glad he got 12.
When
That was a clickbait. It was proven to be clickbait. He
Okay.
didn't say nothing about it.
my mistake then. So, Anyway, so Shedeur Sanders, if he came in and he was overconfident and he was egotistical, and then the report coming out that the Giants gave him a tablet with intentional mistakes on it and he didn't catch it, when they call him out on it and he gets mad, that's not a good show of character either. I've had people tell me, well, do you really think that Deion Sanders, his dad, would let him go into a pre-draft interview and flunk? What does that have to do with anything?
Yes.
His dad
Yes, because Deion.
his dad has nothing to do with Sheduer. Okay, when it comes to pre-draft,
What?
his dad has nothing to do with preparing him. He can't prepare him for what those teams are going to do and ask. He can't do
No, but what do you
anything.
He went through it.
He did go through
No,
it
no.
in the 90s,
No, but he was-
in the
no,
80s.
no,
It's way different.
No,
time.
what happened was
It
I
might be-
think Deion was like coaching him on things like that. He said, "Do this and do that," but the playbook installation, bro, I don't think that was just right necessarily solely because that's a new player. They never learned your system to know which is like bad, like a error
No,
or-
okay, they're playbook inserts, okay? So they're standard zones, they're standard coverages, they're standard throws. What would you do in this situation? What should you do in this situation? It has nothing to do with what kind of offense you run. It's standard playbook inserts. Can you read a playbook? It's pretty much what it is. Can you spot the obvious mistake? It's stuff like, I think one of the inserts is if the quarterback comes out and hits the X receiver, what's going to happen? They show you the coverage, they show you the play, they show you the quarterback throwing to the X. Why is that a mistake? But they didn't point out right there that it was a mistake. What they're doing is they're checking to see what a player can identify as a mistake, what they can identify as a good play, and what they can identify as something that went wrong. They want to test the player's ability to recognize an issue in the playbook. That's what Sheduer failed to do during the pre-draft interview. It wouldn't have been a problem if Sheduer didn't then get mad at the Giants staff for doing that. It's very standard in every pre-draft interview. Players do it all the
Who knows
time.
if he actually got mad, like,
Right.
it's all
That's my
asking
point. It's
questions,
all
Noah.
speculation. It's all
No, he was
speculation.
also asking questions. He wasn't just like.
I'm
and
going
you
off of
made
what
a
I see
point.
in the
And Dane-
reports.
And Dane made a point, said, "What? Why is he asking questions? The interview should ask questions. Don't you want to know about the team that could potentially draft you? Don't you want to know what type of I know maybe in the install package is him, getting frustrated and not want to answer. That's kind of bad, but you gotta also take into account the man is only 21 years old. I'm not trying to say
No,
that's
he's
complete.
But
23, 22. I'm not saying that excuses him, but you can see how his cocky demeanor and how he's been brought up. He's not really used to, getting that frustrated. I don't know, but
is that an
continue
excuse
points so I
though?
can go in.
Is that really
I
an
don't think-
excuse?
But listen real quick. No, I don't think those reports are true solely because the Giants kept on working immensely with him even after the combine. So I say they probably just, like the past week they just did some tape and they all talked about it. They said, "Know what, Jackson Dart, we might like Jackson Dart because of his attributes." They
And
probably thought
that's
about that.
fine.
I don't think it was solely because that he threw an attitude in the thing. Those were just speculation. I think what it came down to was we like Jackson Dart's traits. He has a bigger arm than Sheduer. He's wider. He's not light in the ass like Sheduer might be looked at as. He's played in the SEC. They like that. He has some moxie that Sheduer also has, but it still comes down to who do we want as our quarterback. They didn't probably think Sheduer was going to fall to the 5th round, but they said, "Know what? We probably like Jackson Dart more because of what his traits are,
Right.
Not because of what Sheduer."
I'm not arguing about the Giants not taking him. But what I'm saying is it's not just one interview. That's the only source that we're hearing from is the Giants, okay? You do know that the Giants and the other teams will share information with other teams. They'll share that kind of stuff with teams. So if there are character issues that they notice, they'll point it out to other teams and say, "Hey, this is what we noticed, do your own draft interview." But
Especially if they're training with each other.
right. So it's got nothing to do with they like Jackson Dart better. Or excuse me, it's got nothing to do with Sheduer being a bad quarterback. I didn't mean to say that. That was out of pocket. But Shedeur is a good quarterback. He's shown flashes. But if he has an attitude or if he has character concerns that teams have about him, which players every year fall because of, then teams are not going to draft him. Because he's going to come in as a third-round pick. He's going to come in as what we thought would be a third-round pick. He's going to be sitting behind a starter. You want to know, can that young quarterback do that? Can he do that and not develop Cam Newton syndrome and think that he needs to start immediately? In my opinion, if Sheduer didn't nail those pre-draft interviews, that tells a lot. He didn't throw at the NFL Combine, okay, which in my opinion is a mistake if you're not the consensus number one pick, but I'm not an NFL player, so I don't have anything to do with that.
Top 5 pick at one point. He was
right,
still a consensus top
but
5.
then he tanked his draft stock.
Noah, you been talking for a whole 5 minutes. It's time for somebody to
I've been waiting for you to talk.
You've been talking. I thought you do it. That's why. Okay.
I ain't like you fell into the bait. You fell into the damn bait, Justin. My God.
What did I fall into the bait? How did I fall? Whatever. It don't matter. Character issues. You want to talk about character issues. You're making it almost solely that's the reason he left. You know how many freaking prospects have had character issues that went top 5, even with less talent or better talent. I don't care about the damn what he played in, what conference he played in, what teams he played in. There's guys that have had played the worst teams, and beat them bad and still went higher. Character issues can be fixed in the way that his teammates have talked about him, players around college have talked about him. That shouldn't be as bad for him to drop all the way to the 5th to lose out on first round money. He was the consensus. You could say, what, Cade?
I agree with you. I agree with you on that part. His teammates, everybody love him, bro. Like, come on.
He was the consensus second best in this draft, number 1 if Cam Ward's not there. And you're telling me a guy like Tyler Shook, a guy like Jackson Dart, who the Giants traded up to get, which I see Cade's point, Jackson Dart probably is a better arm and probably better prospect at the time. But you guys like got Dylan Gabriel and all these guys getting drafted all the way before Sheduer. When Sheduer came in this draft as the second best quarterback, after having the best completion percentage in college, having the second best touchdowns in college, and having it gotten better every year since he left SWAC, got to the Big 12 in Colorado, and did what he had to do. I don't give a fuck about some damn character issues if it weren't even that bad. You keep wanting to solely base it on character issues, and I'm sick of you doing that, Noah. And I'm not trying to get heated about it, but it's like...
No.
It's not,
Listen, when you're a quarterback, your character concerns are bigger than the defensive end character concerns. Because you're the man, you're the one to be kissing the babies at the game. You're the one taking the pictures with the babies. You're the face of the organization. If you have character concerns as a quarterback, which is the same reason Dak Prescott fell to the 4th round, the same reason a lot of other quarterbacks fail, it's just that you can't be mad at that because you are looked at higher as a quarterback the other teams. As soon as one team hears that you have character concerns, you can breathe wrong, and they can go to the other teams and say, yeah, he just has such a bad attitude. Like, you're looked at so much harder as a quarterback. You can't just say, no, you tied it. Mike Green was a consensus top 10 pick without the character concerns.
He didn't have character concerns. He had off-the-field issues. That's a lot different.
I know, but
that's a character concern also. He sexually assaulted a girl. He sexually assaulted a girl.
And it's also not proven.
No, but still, it's still
neither is Sheduer's. Neither is Sheduer's.
But still,
I'm just saying that's not solely what you should base it on, though.
Right.
No, but as a quarterback, that is, because how you gonna lead a man with bad attitude?
So
you gotta think about that. You're leading men with kids. You leading men with families, right? That's 30 years old. You can't come into an organization with questions about your character. So I can understand why teams passed on him, bro. You just can't. You got to think about a quarterback. Teams look at as a quarterback is not the same way a team look at a defensive end with character concerns.
Justin,
you just gotta see it like that, bro.
I want to say it. I want to say it to you on video, and just like I said to you in private. I never said that Tyler Shook should have gone ahead Sheduer. I was absolutely taken aback by that. It was insane to me because I don't care how many character concerns you have, you don't pass on a guy like Sheduer and then take a guy like Tyler Shook, who the downsides are so much higher. The downsides are so much lower with Tyler Shook. He's 25. He has accuracy issues. He's never had a healthy season. That's different. But with Sheduer, ever since we've seen guys like Ryan Leaf, like Jamarcus Russell, and like Johnny Manziel get drafted into the league, character problems have been magnified and they've been looked at so much more. That's why this debate on, well, Deion Sanders is his dad, there's no way that he could have had those character problems in the draft or in the pre-draft process.
I never argued that.
I know, I'm not saying you did. But that's why that debate doesn't make any sense, because that was in the 80s when guys with insane confidence was something that you wanted. But they also play two completely different positions. A confident quarterback isn't a bad thing to have, like a Baker Mayfield, but you have to know how to temper that confidence, especially when you have somebody like Sheduer who, in my opinion, hasn't done enough in college to justify coming into the NFL and into a pre-draft interview and having that amount of confidence.
Oh, but listen, same thing, bro. Look, Josh Allen went to Wyoming. He went to a back. So you can't say that Josh Allen didn't do enough in college.
So went to North Dakota State, South Dakota, wherever those FCS school. And he went second.
Patrick Mahomes went to Texas Tech and had damn near the same record as Sheduer. So you really can't say it's about the competition, who he went against, or what he is doing.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
But that's
you did say that.
Anyway.
That's not what I said.
You said Sheduer didn't do enough. You said Sheduer didn't do enough to be justified as a first-round talent.
No, that's not what I said. I said that Sheduer has not done enough college success-wise to justify his confidence in pre-draft interviews. Not that he shouldn't have been taken in the first round. That's not what I said. You can't come into a pre-draft interview and act like you're the best when you haven't done anything to prove you're the best other than put up stats.
Let's be real. How true can those conversations be?
They've got to have some truth to him, considering he fell to the fifth.
Speculation.
Every team goes around. If they like a player so bad, they go around saying, "Oh yeah, this about to be. We're trying to kill this kid's draft stock so we can get him later rounds." That's a trend that goes on a lot in the NFL draft, whether you like it or not.
Did you see how much the views went up? When they knew Sheduer didn't get drafted, the views went up. That's something we would hope to see.
You know what?
When Sheduer got drafted.
Everybody keeps making that case, though. That the NFL is not going to tell teams to not draft a player to get ratings up. That's not how that works. These teams are drafting based off of making their team better. If you draft Sheduer, you're going to get a viewership boost anyways. People aren't drafting. People aren't watching the draft solely for Sheduer.
Shedeur Sanders, you're going to get a viewership.
Right, you're going to get. I should know. I made a Shiloh Sanders video and it exploded. So to make the argument saying that, I get that it's speculation. I'm not saying it's not. I've never met Sheduer, of course. None of us have, so we don't know how he is in person.
Shedeur's a great guy.
But to say that his attitude and all that didn't have any factor, I find it hard to believe, because
never said that.
If that's the only piece of information we have, okay, he fell to the fifth round for a reason. It wasn't because of talent. So what else could it be?
And that's true. Look, Noah, I agree with you to a certain extent. What, nigga?
There's nothing else to go on, Justin.
You think that's the most solely extent why he dropped all the way to the fifth round?
Yes,
what other reason? What other reason can you have, Justin?
No, Justin, just listen. If you are the
literally just said he didn't do enough.
Hold on, real quick. If you are the quarterback, if you have character concerns as a wide receiver, you're going top 5. Look at Jamar Chase and look at Malik Neighbors. They are divas. They want that fucking football. They gonna cuss you out if they don't get that damn football. If a quarterback has character concerns, any slightest, there's gonna be overview. Like, oh, how can this kid lead a franchise? How can this kid lead 30-year-old men with 5 kids and baby mamas and child support? How can they do that? They just don't believe that could be possible, because you have character concerns and you're bumping heads with the GM sometimes.
Right.
I'm not saying Sheduer did that. If you're bumping heads with the GMs that's 70 years old, just imagine what they think will happen in the locker room.
A quarterback.
It's just speculation. We're going off of speculation.
That's all we can go off of, Justin.
You know with your ears, bro.
But that makes you drop all the way to the fifth. That's all I'm saying.
As a quarterback, yes. As a quarterback, yes, bro.
It can, yeah.
I'm not saying.
Oh, I
I'm
don't
not
believe that,
saying
bro.
Shedeur had those. I'm just saying, in general, just the slightest bit of character concerns as a quarterback. You can't compare a quarterback to a wide receiver, defense, and a running.
I'm not comparing
No,
nobody. I'm just
you're not
saying.
listening. You're not breaking.
Hey, I'm listening to you.
Nigga, no, you're not. You're not comprehending what I'm saying, obviously. Because man, it wouldn't be a topic right now. Because if you just
No, we had a
comprehend
topic because this was always going to be the topic. I'm just saying.
motherfucker, if you would just comprehend, if you can't, a quarterback is put on 10 heights of a pedestal as any other position in football. Every time you see Dak Prescott before a game, what is he over there doing? Kissing babies, taking pictures with families. You put Patrick Mahomes on anywhere, he's on the sideline kissing babies and hugging families and taking pictures with people. He's the face of that football team. I don't give a damn what. If Patrick Mahomes, nigga, you're not bigger than the damn league. You're not bigger than the law. No matter what. If you had the slightest bit of character search as a quarterback, you're gonna shoot down. Look at Dak Prescott, bro. Dak Prescott was a top 2-round pick, and he fell to the late 4th round.
Cabe, you're losing me.
now.
I don't know what.
How am I losing you?
Because
You talking
I
about
mean,
the
look,
kissing
you don't
baby?
have to be the face of the franchise as a quarterback, but what you
No,
have
but
to be is
you
you are the leader on the field. If you have
That's what I'm
attitude
talking about.
problems or if you have character concerns that your teammates don't like, they're not going to follow you. And
So that's listen real quick. That's
All
still
we're saying
basically
is
the face of the franchise.
teams have
though.
said that, not his teammates.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anybody say anything bad about Shedeur outside of what the teams are saying. Like I
They're
said,
not
let
going
Cade
to.
make Cade. I know, and I understand, Cade. A quarterback, if like you said, character concerns just a little bit. Like Dak had the DUI, he dropped all the way to the 4th round. I get it, but then you got cocky guys like Baker Mayfield. Albeit what he did at Oklahoma was crazy good, and even Josh Rosen.
Yeah,
But when you got guys like him going, Shedeur won a QB award, one of the best QB award. I know that's not the same as a Heisman, but it's not like this man didn't earn it. I don't
that's
know,
a
man.
big 350 touchdown.
so
for one
yeah,
year.
so
That's a big-
Baker Mayfield had a fantastic season his final season. He had every right to have the confidence about him. So Shedeur hasn't had the amount of success you would expect from a cocky quarterback. That's my whole thing is everybody's like, well, if Baker Mayfield did it, it's not a problem, but because Shedeur did it, it's a problem. Well, because
Here's what I
Shedeur made one bowl game and shit the bed in a bowl game. He has
where I
no
disagree
college
with you,
success to speak of, other than
This is why I disagree.
stats.
He changed over Jackson State. Jackson State was a losing program. They had to flip both Jackson State roster and Colorado roster for them to even compete. So that's where I disagree with you on talking about success. When Baker went to Oklahoma, Oklahoma was an established roster. They had CeeDee Lamb. They had NFL caliber players, like 1st-round talent players. So you can't compare that. If Shedeur had the talent that fucking Cam Ward had, we're going to be talking about Shedeur was consistent #1. I'm just talking about if you have to flip a complete roster and go from 1-11, and when you get on the field, you go to 4-8, then to 9-4. What does that say about you?
That's a whataboutism,
Progression.
dude. That has nothing to
It's called
do.
progression.
That has
You
no.
guys have it every year,
Okay,
Noah.
listen. So Jackson State is an HBCU. They don't get the caliber of players like Travis Hunter and Shedeur and Shiloh. They don't get those kinds of players all the time. So for them to dominate
They
at
got
Jackson
Shannon Sharp back
State,
in the 90s.
but back in the 90s. The thing about it is they don't get those kinds of players that often. So for them to dominate at Jackson State, that's not surprising. That's good. I'm not taking it away from them. But you're comparing Baker Mayfield and Shedeur Sanders. You're comparing Colorado and Oklahoma. They're two completely different schools.
Did you hear how I was comparing them, though? Did you hear how I was comparing them?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, listen. If Shedeur went to a more complete team like a Oklahoma or like something else, then conversations would be different because now he has a NFL talent, like all 1st-round, 2nd-round talent on a football field. Now the kid can pitch that pigskin. He can throw that fucking rock. He can distribute that rock with no PTSD. He flipped a 1-11 team to a 9-4 team.
He didn't
in
flip
2
it.
seasons.
Dion did. I mean, he helped.
You
He
think-
wasn't the
so
only
let's say-
reason why they did it.
So you think Jackson Dart is going
Nobody
to
said that, Noah. See, you're trying to keep on making it singling him out. Nobody said that he was. the
No,
only
I'm
reason.
playing
He was
into
saying that he
Cave's. I'm playing into Cave's example because
Mm-hmm.
Sheduer came in as a quarter. He did his job as a quarterback. I'm not saying Sheduer is a bad quarterback. Why does everyone keep thinking that I am?
But you're saying
Hold on,
character
what
issues are the
quarterback in college
main reason.
quarterback in college football do you think could succeed at like Shedeur did numbers wise behind that
And in the Big
offensive
12, Big 12 is not a bad Power 4 school. That's still one of the best.
I didn't say it
behind that
was.
offensive line. No, just behind that offensive line.
I'm not saying
What-
anything about Colorado it being a bad team or even that
No,
Sheduer
I'm
did
not-
bad at
You're
Colorado.
missing my point. You're missing my point in a way. I'm saying, what other quarterback do you think could do the same thing, if not better, on behind that Colorado offensive line?
That's
But you was getting
hindsight.
smashed.
What do you
No
mean?
O-line for him. Dylan Gabriel's getting smashed.
A
Fucking
lot of
damn.
people were not succeeding under that pressure, bro.
Your goat Seth Hannigan's getting smashed.
It was one play that I saw that I completely saw. It was a North Dakota State. He got smashed through a 40-yard bomb to Jimmy Horn. It was a perfect ball too across the middle of the field. So I'm just saying, can you really say that a lot of quarterbacks are doing good under those circumstances that Shedeur had?
That
Are you
has
really-
nothing to
And he
that
had
has
the best
nothing to do with the
completion
debate about
percentage in college.
So
The
you
best
guys
completion percentage
so
in college,
you
bro.
guys
After
are
that bad O-line.
you guys are doing this thing where you're taking what I'm saying and then you're comparing it and saying, well, what if this player was on this team? It has nothing to do
No,
with what I'm saying.
That's not what I'm doing. I'm just asking, what do you think?
We're seeing
I'm
facts.
just asking you a question. I changed it into a different topic. That's what I did. I want to ask you a question. I flipped it to my own topic. I'm not flipping what you said. I heard what you. I even commented. I said I agree to you on a certain extent. Then I just made my own topic and asked you a question. I'm not flipping nothing you said.
Look,
You can't out manipulate me. You
It's-
just can't do it.
I'm not out manipulating anybody. My point still stands.
All I'm saying is, I feel like his character issues weren't that bad for him to fall all the way to the fifth. But like Cave said, a little bit for a QB of his caliber, and especially all the polarizing attitude he has, will make a guy like him drop all the way to the fifth.
So-
but I feel he should have. That's my opinion, and I'm standing on it. I'm sorry.
And I agree with you. He should have gone ahead of guys like Dylan Gabriel and Tyler Shook. But the moment that those guys got drafted was the moment that he was going to fall. It didn't matter who was drafting after that. So if he made a bad impression on the teams that were his number one options, what do you think's going to happen? They're going to take guys that they made good impressions on. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns like Dylan Gabriel better, and then they either felt pressured to take Sheduer or were told to take him or decided to take the best player available, whatever they decided to do. It was a stupid way of handling it. But the fact of the matter is the only bit of information that we have right now from anybody is that
It's
he has
speculation.
character concerns. It's speculation. But
Speculation.
it makes sense. It's speculation that makes sense. It's not like it's outlandish. It's the only bit of speculation we have, but it makes sense. Why else would a first-round talent fall to the fifth round?
I mean, to be fair, once you saw the Giants pass on two, 3 times, they said, yeah, some of these reports have to be true, in my opinion. If the Giants pass on 2 different times, a lot of other teams say, yeah, these reports just have to be true. So yeah,
It's
I
not
agree with
insane
Noah on a certain
speculation.
extent.
So
No,
just
it's not. I'm just saying. I just
But
don't disagree. I don't agree with it. But I can see
Sheduer-
where both sides are coming from.
Sheduer has issues with that. That's going to be a thing. He's got to beat those issues. If he does, then he can be a great quarterback. Talent is there, but my whole point has always been, what success did he have in college to justify his confidence in pre-draft interviews? In my opinion, there isn't there.
I would love to answer.
Abe,
this.
answer
I
it.
would say he had the most receivers drafted in college. That's one. And, well, this year he got the most receivers drafted in the NFL this
He
year.
had stats.
Number 2. Okay, that's number 2. He dominated, not dominated, but he still played extremely well behind a poor offensive line that was applying. Bro, my fat ass that hasn't played football in years could get behind that offensive line.
I'm
just
not
saying-
debating
besides-
that.
No,
Yeah, I'm not
but
debating
look,
that.
when you look, he had no running
I know.
game. He had it. look, when teams are dropping back in coverage every play and you're still putting up 4,000 yards passing, what can,
with the
like
best
how hard
completion
must you
percentage in
ask for?
football.
Their leading rusher at
Best
300 yards. Their leading rusher at 300. If you're not, Cam Ward had like at least two rushers with 500 yards, bro. Cam Ward had a good run game with a great offensive line. You think if Shedeur had that, you flip the players, right? You think it's gonna be a different story, in my opinion. I think it's gonna be a
God,
way.
So
see,
if
no one doesn't like when we're flipping. He
so
doesn't like when we're using other players. That's what he doesn't want. That he doesn't like
because
that argument.
most of
So
the time it has nothing to do with the actual topic of Shedeur Sanders. If you put okay, fine, let's go with
yes, it
Cam
does,
Rising,
because
who
it justifies, because it helps justify why other QBs were taken before him or after. That's one of your arguments.
nobody's arguing that. Nobody's arguing that.
No, listen, he's not arguing that Shedeur should have been drafted that late. He said Shedeur really should not have gone after Tyler Show. He said Shedeur should not have gone that late. He's just saying he could understand because of what team said about him having character issues.
Thank
That's
you.
all he's saying. That's where I disagree with you, Justin. He's not saying that he agrees with him sliding that far. He's just saying the reason why he did slide. And what we're trying to do is say, like, pick up the case for, like, stick up for Shedeur, not necessarily towards Noah, but in general, saying he really doesn't have those character issues because if you look at videos that's well off media posted, if you look at how his teammates talk about him, if you look at like Malik Neighbors talk about, if you look at how a lot of other NFL players talk about Shedeur, it's evident that he's not doesn't really have that much of a bad character, in my opinion.
Let
Yeah,
me
I
use
get
an
that.
example.
Yeah.
Let me use an example. So it's not a great example, and I know I'm going to get flamed for it. You all seen the movie Draft Day?
Oh no, we are not talking about no Bo Callahan right now.
So
We are not talking about no damn
anything
Bo
that you
Callahan.
see in a pre-draft interview or anything you find in the pre-draft process matters. That's what teams base it off of. That's the furthest I'm going to take that
We are
analogy.
not talking about that horrible ass trying to be an NFL draft movie. I hate that movie.
That movie
so
is bad. That movie is
To be
horrible.
fair,
But
Diddy was.
it goes down
They
to
decided
Yeah,
to
Diddy
take
was his fucking
Chadwick
agent.
Boseman. They rest his soul. I love him. They decided to take a linebacker over the best quarterback in the draft. I don't give a fuck about no damn character issues to Diddy. Oh my god.
No, but-
And the way they were talking in the draft room.
Trayvon Walker got #1 pick over Aiden Hutchinson solely because of his character, his good character. So let's be real.
I never
that's
heard
an
that.
actual true statement.
I never heard that,
Look
but
it up.
if it's true, then it
The
is.
Jaguars are sold. The Jaguars are sold.
Trayvon Walker been killing
Trayvon,
it.
the only thing I
Trayvon
know about Trayvon Walker is he had an amazing combine that catapulted him to the first overall pick. I never heard anything about character.
No,
Now,
look it up. It was
if
leadership.
it's
It was mainly
true,
leadership role.
if it's true, then okay. But it's again, we're comparing, a bad quarterback class to a bad or to a good defensive line class. So
I was picking up on your point, talking about how character was a good, like, can make or break your.
yeah,
your,
exactly. Okay, yeah, I see what you're
I
saying.
wasn't talking about Shedeur in general. I was just talking about, like, if you can just have a good character, you can be overdrafting what you're like you should be. You know what I'm saying?
Look.
Like Corey Davis. Corey Davis must have been on his hands and knees. Well, he was great in the FCS to be picked top 5. But I'm just saying, if you're an FCS player going top 5, you must be on your hands and knees in that damn pre-draft to win over somebody, in my opinion.
And the only reason, and I'm going to get killed on this, I'm sure. The only reason I think that Shedeur is getting any kind of major media attention like this is because of his last name. I just point blank agree with that. He was a first round talent that fell to the 5th round. But if it was Dylan Gabriel the other way around, it would not have blown up the way it has. And I will stand by that. But when character issues hurt you, they hurt you. And when the Saints passed him up on a guy in Tyler Shook who shouldn't have gone in the 2nd round, but is noted for his leadership and his maturity in the locker room, that's like his biggest point, by the way. That should have told you everything you needed to know. That the Saints were taking a quarterback who they felt could be a leader on the field. They didn't feel that Sheduer could do that because Sheduer is the better quarterback than Tyler Shook. It came down to character. That's my whole point. And I
I feel
mean,
like we're not gonna get to a headway for this, so I feel like we should agree to disagree.
we
That's
can
all I'm
hash it
saying.
out. I mean,
No, I don't feel like hashing it out no more because I'm just gonna get like it's over.
what do you mean
We
it's
both
over?
been telling like both. You had the mediator, and then you have both our sides. You want me to agree? I'm not going to agree. I'm sorry. I
Okay,
already
well,
said I'm standing on it.
what are you stuck on then? I mean, other than the point that he fell to the fifth round, and are you saying
Noah,
that because he has character
Noah.
issues
I
that
already
doesn't
told
change
you
anything?
I'm agreeing to disagree, so you should already be moving to the next topic. That's what I'm saying.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. That's fucking crazy. You said move on to the next topic, podcast boy. That's fucking crazy.
That's
I ain't gonna lie.
crazy.
Instigation will not be working on me. Instigation will not be
Justin's giving up on the debate. That is insane.
I didn't give up on the debate. I already said what I'm standing
You
on. We're not.
technically
You
did.
want me to agree?
No, I didn't say you had to agree, but you didn't really make any
Giving up on the
points.
debate, bro.
I did make a point.
Not really.
I
What was
said
your
the guy
point?
did. Yes, I did. What?
What was your point?
I said. I literally said, bro, the character issue should have not outweighed the talent, and he should have still went to the first 2 or 3 rounds at least. That's what I feel like.
So why were you arguing with me so hard the other night when that's the exact point I was making?
That was not the exact same point.
Yes,
you
it
literally
was.
said character issues were the reason he failed.
Exactly.
I'm
And then
saying it's not
and
should
then
be.
I told you I did not think he should have fell into the fifth round, that he should have fell in the second or third, and that would have been fine. And you
But you're still arguing character issues were the problem, and I'm saying it
He's
wasn't.
not arguing that. He's not arguing that. He just stating out what it probably is why he failed. Cause it's not a talent thing. It's not an intangible thing. It's just it has to be a character thing. Let's be real. That's the
Well,
only.
I don't
That's the
feel that
only
way.
denominator, bro.
so
Like if you just.
I mean I don't understand why you don't feel that way. I mean why
Bro,
do you
just
think he
want
fell?
me to agree, and I'm not doing that.
I want to know why you think he
We don't
fell.
want you to agree. We just want to know why you feel like that. Like you haven't really gave a logical reason of feeling like that, in my opinion.
How is that not a logical reason?
Why do you think he fell? What is your reasoning for why he fell?
If I say it, I'm gonna get clickbait. Not
Why are
clickbait.
you gonna say it?
I'm
Because his last name Sanders and Dion.
not saying no.
Now what's the reason?
I'm gonna say it because his confidence has exuded as a confident black quarterback. Y'all want me to say it? That's what I said. I don't give a fuck if Jalen Milgo got drafted before him, but this guy's
Cam Ward's
like
not
Jackson
bad.
Dart.
Cam
Yeah,
Ward's
but
not-
he put up the stat.
I'm
Lamar
sorry.
Jackson's confident.
We already knew he was the consensus QB. We already knew he was the
Lamar
consensus QB
Jackson's
though.
confident. A lot of quarterbacks.
He went
Jalen
the
Hurts
30th
is
pick.
damn sure confident.
He went to the second round.
I've seen
Kyler
people
Murray's confident.
I've
Jack went
seen
to the
people
fourth.
argue the race debate so much in like Instagram comments, and I can't speak to how black people are treated because I'm obviously not. But at the same time, the NFL has never been afraid to take a black quarterback. They've never been afraid, or well, more recently, excuse me, they've never been afraid to take a black quarterback recently.
The top two quarterbacks in the NFL are black. Lamar Jackson and Mahomes. It's not a black thing, bro.
So
It's-
at the
it's
Yeah,
same-
they're gonna market it off because they're good. Of course, they're not
Bro,
gonna
it's
market
not
them off as the bad ones.
Trust me, it's not a black quarterback thing. It's not even a black.
Bro, what do y'all want me to do here? Y'all want me to admit that Noah's right? Because I'm not doing it. I didn't remove
You
him. I'm
don't
getting out of here.
gotta admit things right, but you have to give a
Then what the
logical.
fuck y'all want me to do? Because it's really getting frustrating that y'all want me to stay in this argument. I'm not
Because you're
doing
being
it.
wrong doesn't mean you're right, bro. Just
I don't. I'm not. I never said that. I never
calm.
said that.
I never said
I'm
you
trying to
did.
be calm. You just
you're
said
not.
just because you're loud doesn't mean I'm right. Bro, okay, chill.
Bro, what? Bro, come on, now. Just be logical.
Bro,
You're not. That's not.
I
That's not
am
a
being
good,
logical.
That's not a good explanation. Oh, because I think he's a confident black quarterback because he didn't get drafted that high. Or is it because he failed? That's not a good reason. That's because
Bro, I just don't think character issues outweigh the freaking reason he fell.
The past few number one quarterbacks wouldn't have been black if that was the case, bro. The past top two picks, top three picks in the NFL draft would not be black if it was such a race thing. Bro, the top four picks, no, the top three picks are black. The top three picks last year were black, two blacks and one white. top 3 picks the year before, black. So it's not a black thing, bro.
I don't
It's
think
far
that's what
from
Justin's
black.
saying, though. I think Justin's saying that because he's black and he's confident, that's why he fell. That's the part I don't agree on.
I
But
don't agree with that either. Because if you would have said it about 50 years ago, yes. But as of late, I just don't think that because who are they putting on the billboards? Jalen. Who's the face of Olympic football? Jalen Hurts. It's not a black thing, bro. They putting Patrick
It's
Mahomes.
a
They
black
putting all
thing
these
that they
other
want to
black
put the
people.
guy up there now. They want to put those guys up there now. You wouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. That's all I'm saying.
they're putting the best.
Of course, I wouldn't say. Of course, bro.
They put
I
the
wouldn't have
best guy
said it.
because he
Hold on,
is black.
listen. Are you even comprehending what I'm saying? And it was such a
Yes,
race
I
thing
am.
in the NFL. No, you're not because you're still feeling a different type of way. If the other
See,
quarterback,
y'all trying to make me feel a certain way. I already told you I'm standing on the topic. So why are y'all trying to get me to see some other side that I'm not going to see? That's what I'm trying to tell you,
blind.
Kate.
You're blind.
Okay. How am I blind? I can see very clear.
Because you're not one to see. Open your eyes.
I don't want
boy.
to see. I don't
I
want
can
to.
tell. I can tell. I can tell.
Oh,
Look,
man.
and at the end of the day, I don't think it has anything to do with race because you can be white, you can be black, you can be Asian, you can be confident as hell. But if you haven't done enough to back up that confidence, then it's going to look bad no matter what. And just like the analogy I used, what was it, 3 nights ago, when I brought it up to you, Justin, if I come in to your radio station and I interview and I say, hey, I'm the best debater you've ever seen, and then I can't debate a fucking wall, which is basically what happened according to reports, that's a problem. That comes off as ego.
That's why I'm saying it's speculation, and that's not. Look, I feel like also it could be they didn't feel as much as talented, like you said, he said, but I don't believe it's all the way character. That's all I'm saying.
So
I mean,
it's either
what
character
else
or
could it be?
it's
'Cause his numbers were great. He has a good arm, a good arm. He has good intangibles on the football side. If that's not the reason, what could it be? Because it's not.
Well, then if
you look at his
You know-
stats, if you look at his stats, he's a top 5 pick.
It
If
could
you look
on-
at his stats,
it,
All right. I agree with that. The speculation hurt him. But like I said, the speculation shouldn't have made him drop all the way to 5th.
Well, it did.
And that's what Noah was
It
saying.
could-
Okay, it did. Okay.
it could also be the elephant in the room too. Could also be his dad.
Dion.
Yeah, could be his dad.
Yeah.
You know, look.
If you would have said Dion, I would agree with you. But you said Blackport, you lost me there.
Yeah.
I would say yeah.
If
Dion had something to do with it.
if it was Dion, what's up, Sebastian? Look, there's a reason that Shiloh dropped his dad as an agent, and Dion just did too much, man. He fucking tried to do. He tried to paint his sons as the second coming of Jesus, and saying that they were. You know, they won't play for this team, they won't play for that team. That hurts him quite a bit too, because then you have these teams going, well, who the fuck are you? Just because you're an NFL legend doesn't mean you have anything to say. You're not Eli Manning, and he wasn't at the time. Shedeur Sanders didn't have the kind of power that a guy like Eli or like John Elway had when they got drafted. He just didn't, because there was the possibility that Shedeur was going to fall out of the top 10. There was always that possibility. So for his dad to come out and say, oh, well, he's not going to play for the Giants, he's not going to play for, or he didn't say the Giants, but he's not going to play for these teams, that rubs teams the wrong way. And then it paints Sheduer in a bad light, no matter what he does. And then if Sheduer comes in and kind of, even in the slightest, reciprocates some of that cockiness that his dad had, that rubs teams off the wrong way. So that could be another reason why he fell. That teams didn't want to have to deal with Dion, which is a good possibility. You know, obviously we don't know a reason. An NFL team's not going to tell us other than the source that we have that is saying that he did poorly in his pre-draft interviews. It's not impossible. It happens. He's young, like you guys said.
Hey, Noah. I'm gonna agree with what you said about the speculation, or what he said about his confidence being cocky was right. That was probably a big reason. And then, of course, added the black quarterback thing. I was just grasping at straws. I'm sorry about that. But and also the part of where Dion being around was probably going to affect a little bit. But I also am still going to stand by the point that I feel like that shouldn't have overcame what made him fall that much.
No,
That's just how
I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
They agree. Y'all agree on it. Y'all agree on it. Y'all agree on
I
that.
can agree with
Let's
that.
just let you know the realism of it. We'll let you know the business aspect of it.
It's
You know
like
what I'm saying?
I didn't expect him to fall out of the second round. To be completely honest,
Once I saw he was a third day pick, once I saw that third round in and he wasn't picked, I said, "What the fuck?"
it was
Everybody said, "What the
insane.
fuck?"
I couldn't understand why Tyler Shook went ahead of him. I just couldn't. Like if you didn't want
That blew
Shedeur,
me.
if you didn't want Shedeur, okay, fine. Then get Jalen Milroe, who is a developmental guy who, not according to anything, we haven't heard anything about his character issues, but doesn't have any known character issues that we know of. Has tons of potential. If you want a potential guy, then take him. You either take Shedeur or you take Jalen Milroe. But they wanted a guy like Tyler Shook, who is a proven leader. It's like, really? Are you all going to compete next year? Because if you were, then maybe.
He was the only QB to run that combine. They're
Right.
happy about that. They loved it.
I mean, and then guys like Seth Hannigan don't get drafted. I'm fucking upset about that. I'm protesting the league.
Seth didn't get drafted? I thought he got drafted for some reason.
No, I don't even know where he is right now. I'll be completely honest. But it's just like he shouldn't have fell as far as he did, and him going to the Browns is just the biggest stupid thing I could think
That
of.
pissed me off even more too. Because why pick him too just to make a pity when maybe another team probably would have drafted? I don't know. But I feel like you put him in a worse situation because now he had to look over a rookie over his shoulder. He's got to think about the first round bust, trying to make a name for himself being the starter, and then you got the fan favorite.
Could you imagine?
It's so stupid that they got that.
He was. If he didn't go to the Browns, he was going to the Eagles because the Eagles were prepared to draft.
Could you imagine if?
That.
Could you imagine if Shedeur didn't something happened? I don't know what. But let's just say Shedeur went undrafted. Could you imagine the media storm? That would be fucking insane.
Sign him. Nah,
That would be crazy.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
The amount of media attention that would get.
Quinn Ewers. I ain't gonna lie. If I'm Quinn Ewers, there's no way in hell
I'm
Tyler Cook's
pissed.
supposed to be drafted before me. I think niggas wouldn't
What
be
even Dylan Brooks?
before Shedeur.
I'm
mad that Dylan Brooks is drafted for me. I'm mad that Jackson. Nah, not Jackson. But I'm mad that Dylan Brooks is
I'm mad
drafted
that
for me.
Cam Miller got drafted before me. That's why.
I'm mad that Will Howard got drafted before me. God damn, the Steelers.
and Tommy
could've got
Mellett.
Quinn
Don't
Ewers,
forget
bro.
Tommy Mellett. He got drafted
2.0.
too. That was
But he's a wide
funny.
receiver, though.
That was funny
They
as
put
hell.
him-
Cabe, you were there. For everybody else who wasn't, we were sitting at the end of, what was it, like the 6th round? The Raiders had back-to-back picks, basically.
Yeah, I'm like, Tommy Mellett. Hold on, they gotta go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Then they get Tommy Mellett.
They got Tommy Mellett, and then when they came up again, they picked Cam Miller out of South Dakota State. It was the funniest shit ever. And then Quinn Ewers fell into the 7th.
Let's talk about an underrated draft class. The Bucks, bro, they cooked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I was the Bucks, I mean, I don't. Jade was
Buka and Luka Burden.
Jade wasn't there.
They didn't get Luther Burden?
They didn't get Burden. Patriots got Burden.
Oh,
That was a
Oh.
the Bears.
Oh,
got
the
Luther
Bears. The Bears.
Bears got Luka Burden. Wait, I know they got somebody else. Emeka Buka and another receiver, didn't they?
No,
I'm not
I
tripping.
don't think they got another receiver.
Burden.
I'm
They
surprised
got,
the
they
Bucks
got,
win Emeka. Not gonna lie.
It was Taz Johnson, right? Or Taz Johnson was.
Can we talk
Tiz
about?
Johnson. It was Tiz Johnson.
Can we talk about
Yeah, it
the
was Ted
massive
Johnson.
fucking reach
got
in the 3rd
Shiloh?
round? The 2 massive reaches
Yeah,
in the
that's
3rd
Shiloh.
round. Well, they got him as
Yeah.
undrafted. Ty Felton out of Illinois, and fucking what's the other one? Ty Felton and Isaac Tesla to to the
No,
Lions.
bro, what got me mad was this nigga Noah said, that's a great pick. I said, what? I said, this nigga, that's great.
Yeah, and then I
said,
looked.
what?
Then I looked at my phone. And I was like, "Oh shit, never mind. That wasn't because I didn't look at Isaac Tesla. I looked at Andrew Armstrong.
You probably were thinking about Andrew Armstrong.
Yeah.
If you,
I was like, that's a good pick. No, it's not. I mean,
that kid was predicted undrafted, bro.
yeah, I'm not surprised that he went undrafted. You know, there a lot of my guys that I did videos on. Tommy, what the fuck are you doing? A lot of my guys I did videos on, I can kind of understand why they went undrafted. Like Seth Hannigan, you know, if I was a team, I would have maybe taken Seth as like a backup option because he's kind of like a discount Kyle McCord.
But also, Noah, most of your draft projections were right. Not gonna lie. If you think about it,
Not all. There was a couple of way off ones.
most of them.
Kyle Williams, I was way off on. Francisco Mauigoa, he helped his draft stock a ton though.
Wait, did JT Thor not get drafted?
Thor Griffith, no, he went undrafted.
Thor Griffith. I mean, damn.
I had him as a 6th round pick. So I mean, you know, that's the thing.
You know
That's
about Marcus Mabell. The Giants getting Marcus Mabell.
yeah, that was a
No,
good.
Giants get a Cam Scatterboo. Who let them do that? Like,
They got Wyatt
No,
Millen
I
too,
get-
didn't they?
No, that was the Jaguars. They got
Oh,
Wyatt
yeah.
Miller.
Yeah,
who let the Giants draft Cam Scatterboo, bro?
that was a great pick. That was a very good pick for them.
That pissed me off so much when I saw that name pop up on the blue. I was like,
They
God.
needed him. They needed a guy like Cam. But I mean, you got to wonder how much of Cam's game will translate to the NFL. You know, he's a small
Remind
running
me of
back.
Peyton Hillis.
He's a small running
Remind me
back
of
that
Peyton Hillis,
runs like he's fucking 6'2".
Dude's fun.
I mean, I think that's exactly what I was translate, bro. Think of
Mike
Pacheco, bro,
Alstott.
before he got hurt.
Yeah.
Think of Pacheco before he got hurt, bro. That
So-
kid Pacheco is 5'8".
Is the
Just running
Jalen
hard.
Hyatt era in New York over?
Well, they signed DeQuan Felton as an undrafted free agent. Let you know, Noah.
Yeah, that cocky ass motherfucker.
I
God
think
damn
it's
it.
just beginning because they finally got him a quarterback that's capable of throwing that pigskin, bro.
So
Russell Wilson texted Jalen Hyatt first when he first signed to the Giants.
oh, hey, by
That's
the
the
way, just to clarify, Justin, the reason why I said that is because our little discussion. For those of you who don't know, I had Justin send my DeQuan Felton video to somebody who knew DeQuan, and he
Went
responded.
to high school, played with him.
Yeah, he responded, check his sources. Well, I did check my sources, and he went undrafted. So,
Damn.
yeah, DeQuan, take that. You know,
Or when he gets in these comments, they start calling you a white bitch.
I mean, look, you know, obviously I'm not the only person that made a video on him, but, you know, don't tell me to check my sources when everybody in their mom is telling you that you're going undrafted.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I
Oh,
had a lot of
shit.
7'5" guys.
You know,
damn.
I mean, that kind of stuff pisses me off because it's like, that's the kind of cockiness that makes you unlikable. It's like, I at the time, I was the only person that made a video on him. And I was a big supporter
Yeah,
of
it was
him.
because of me.
Yeah. Big supporter of him.
Hey.
And then for him to do that was kind of like a big fuck you to me. And I'm like, wow, okay. It's like, thanks, I guess.
Oh, no, I got a cool fact, man. I know none of y'all niggas know people from Virginia. But the best running back went to Great Bridge Middle
They sure too.
when he was a 7th, 8th grader. No, not Bishop Tulane. It's a crazy name. The guy that just got drafted by the Raiders, the man from Boise State, went to Great Bridge Middle from 7th to 8th. That's in Chesapeake,
shit.
Virginia. He left to go to Texas, wherever he went.
No,
Yeah, he
sorry,
went to Dallas.
Frisco.
He went to Frisco. If he had stayed, he would have been he would have been taught to Vic and Iverson, of best football players to ever play for Virginia.
Holy dick rod. Holy
Whoa.
dick rod. Holy dick rod. Holy dick rod.
I'm just saying, bro. We could have had a crazy generational
Hold
talent.
on, bro.
We could have had a generational talent.
You're a dick riding, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That's
So-
man. You're a dick riding.
So
God.
I
not
really,
big about it.
I
I love
really
people on my
wished
feet.
that I really wished that Dallas would have found a way to get Nick Nash, but they got a really good wide receiver, Tayshawn Holden, out of Oregon. Somebody who I wanted to do a video
dog.
on, I just couldn't. I just couldn't get him in. But man, I've really a lot of these guys I wanted to do videos on, and that's why this year I'm going to start a little bit sooner. I'm going to try to start probably in November this year, so I can get more guys. But at the same time, I got to find videos in the meantime. So that's kind of the
Way too early mock draft next pod.
shit.
Way too early mock.
You know,
Shit,
Damien. I think it was Damien commented that on the What's Next video, and I was like, oh, that's actually not a bad idea.
Hey, all I'm saying, Lenore Sellers, get ready to learn Saints football, baby.
Is he? So I thought that Drew. I could be wrong, but I thought that Drew Aller was the best quarterback prospect. Is he not?
No, because Drew Eller has a lot more questions. Lenore Sellers, just because he's more of like a Cam Newton type, he's 6'3", 240 that can run like a 4.4 40. Look at South Carolina. Hold on, listen real quick. Look at South Carolina games. He's more polished of a passer than a Jalen Milroe. That's why he's projected to go first round as high as he is, and his upside is way higher. So he's younger and he's more polished as a passer. If you look at South Carolina games, it was times where he was carrying that football team by himself because he had lackluster receivers. Yeah, if you look at NCAA on college football, you have Nick Harvard that's 6'5" with 99 speed. That kid barely got in the game. All right. So he did a whole lot with a lot less. He had a rookie offensive line that was pretty, like new and young, like freshmen, sophomores type young. Their left tackle was a freshman. I'm just saying that he carried that team to the point where they were actually competitive in a point. Look at that LSU game or Alabama game. He threw that game-tying touchdown or game-something touchdown to Nick Harvard. That guy, Lenore Sellers, is that dude, in my opinion.
You have the most mid quarterback room, by the way, in Indianapolis of Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, and now Riley
That's
Leonard.
white chocolate. Don't disrespect white chocolate. And then you got white chocolate 2.0, and then you got black chocolate. You got a whole reverse Oreo of a QB roll. Hey, K, stop sucking my dick and get it on my ass because I'm sucking.
Whoa. You put...
I've counted... Hold on. I've counted 6 niggas you dick rode today. 6 to the exact team. Man, like...
He's thinking of them now, right now.
Who am I sucking? Pause.
Okay, every 7'5" nigga you brought up for one.
Oh, yeah, I'm always going to. Pause.
Except Daquan, he agreed with me on that one.
Yeah, 5 or 6 of them that went to the draft, so I don't give a fuck. I'm always going to rap.
You just said Riley Leonard, Daniel Jones, and Anthony Richardson. That's 3 right there. Shedeur Sanders. No one. I'm even joining you on the Shedeur Sanders, buddy, on a halfway point. But still, man, you're just versus Cowboys.
I don't give a fuck, Kate.
I can see. I see every inch cock in your mouth, bro.
Look, so if you would there's no way that you just did that. That is becoming a clip.
Not only is this nigga lame, this nigga gay. No,
if you had inserted any quarterback that is expected to come out next year, like any junior quarterback, Drew Aller, Lenore Sellers, any of them, they would have went first. I mean,
it's going to be a way better QB draft class next year.
Hey, Noah, Marcel Reed's going first in this year.
Is Kevin Jennings going first, Kate? Is Kevin Jennings?
No.
Next year he's going like second, third round.
Absolutely not. What?
Yeah.
There's a reason he came out of the draft this year because he wasn't even going to get drafted.
You know who is getting drafted? Connor Jones from Virginia Tech.
Why would you go to the draft if it's your first year ever started?
Is he in college football?
Yeah, he is.
Okay. For some reason, I started a dynasty one day, and he wasn't the starter for SMU, and he wasn't hurt, and he just wasn't on the roster. So I don't know why.
They do on dynasty. They do the week 1 rosters, but if you look at the rosters now, he's a 91 overall.
Shit. For what?
Yeah. So he's not a bad quarterback, bro. This is his first year ever starting, bro. Like, come on now. Next year he's going to be 22 years old. Whole lot of room to improve. If you can build
Yeah.
on a great year, you can be second, third, or fourth round quarterback by next year, bro. If you know what I'm saying?
So
I'm
I
not
like
saying
Kyron
first
Jones a
round.
little bit better.
we can
I like
take
Kyron
we can
Jones
take a
little bit better.
moment and recognize some of the guys from our schools that got drafted. Of course, Maxwell Hairston, Deion Walker,
Rashard Smith,
yeah, Rashard
Alontae
Smith,
I got
Roberts.
absolutely no one.
yeah,
Basil
UTEP.
Tootin, Jalen Lane. That's all I got.
Hang on, so
No, you got
for
Deshaun too.
Yeah, that's that. Basil Tootin, Jalen Lane.
for
Fuck that.
UTEP, they did not have anybody.
They didn't get any unsigned, huh? Like,
No.
undrafted free agents?
Who is people?
Not yet.
Antoine Powell Ryland. Oh my. Back to back, by the way.
Peebles,
Oh,
I
I love
was
Virginia Tech had a good draft, bro. Virginia Tech had a good draft.
surprised that Powell, Ryland, and
I used to
Peebles
play with
went
Powell
as
like
well
this,
as they
bro.
did.
Yeah, I thought they were fourth round.
One went to the Eagles, sadly, but the other went
Antoine.
to Ravens.
So the issue with with Peebles is he's a pass rushing 3 tech, but he really doesn't have enough motor right now to do that. And
That
he's
D-line coach will get it right.
not great against the run, but he's not horrible either. I mean, it's a good pick. You couldn't lose with any
You
of
put
the
him with
Virginia
Justin
guys.
Matabuke. You put him with Justin Matabuke, he gonna get him right.
That's actually a good pickup. Yeah, so
I'm just happy so many Virginia Tech players got drafted, man.
I'm so
proud
happy
of
the
that.
Chiefs got Rashard Smith, bro. Oh my god.
that was a good pick. That was a very good pick because if he doesn't work out, if he doesn't work out at running back for the Chiefs, they could put him back at wide receiver.
Man, Damian Martinez went to the Panthers. Was it Panthers?
Yeah.
No.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm mad. Damian Martinez.
So you mean to tell me
no.
Rico Dowdle left the Cowboys be running back 4? This is what you're telling me, bro. You mean to tell me Rico Dowdle left the Cowboys to be sitting that damn bench?
That
On a
sucks.
1-year deal too.
Didn't they
That
pay him,
sucks.
3 years?
They paid him a 1-year rental deal too.
1 year, $7 million, I think.
Oh, Damian's trying to talk real quick. Hold on.
No, I just said they paid him. How much they paid him?
Yeah, I
Like
think
6
it
mil?
was 1 year, 6 or 7 mil.
Hey, Dame, you've been quiet all day. What's your takes on everything?
I was just here for the entertainment.
Well, I'm glad we served our purpose. No, I mean
Look,
JJ didn't get drafted, which I'm a little sad about, but I kind of figured he
JJ
wasn't
me,
going
bro.
to. But
hey,
you know,
did say undrafted in the 7th round, so you were right on that.
I know Kentucky had a good draft, bro. Maxwell Harrison, I was proud of, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
no, first round too.
I don't know why. Before the draft, I said no. I'm doing some study on Maxwell Harrison. That kid's a dog. That kid's a dog, bro.
But no, what
Like, he
I
has
just
some
want.
things he need to clear up in man coverage because of his frame. But man, if he just does it, he's Kobe Bryant. Can we all talk about Kobe Bryant?
Damn,
Yeah.
bro. He should have never went undrafted, bro. He's
That
a top
was-
5 corner in the draft. I don't.
the
Took him
only
in the 7th.
the only reason
He was there so many times.
the only reason I can see why Kobe went undrafted is because of his injury history and his frame. He's got some frame issues.
Will Johnson. Well, he's the best corner.
So-
he dropped a lot.
Will Johnson had a major knee injury, but his frame is fine. Everything about Will Johnson besides his knee exploding is a good prospect. You want to see it. But I didn't understand why Kobe went undrafted.
And now Gannon gets another great player. And Gannon's ass. Gannon's actually pretty good. But, fuck Gannon. Because we played the Cardinals again this year. We need to get our get back. That's
I
all
don't
I'm
think
saying.
he didn't sign with the Cardinals. He signed with the Falcons.
You talking about Will Johnson?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My bad.
Like Gannon said, how the guy fall to us like that? Well, we're gonna beat that ass anyway when we see.
They
him.
better
I
hope.
hate that he in his first season beat us. Like I can't take it.
They
No.
better hope that Will Johnson can come back from that though, because there were some concerns that his knee could be career ending, and I don't know what he's got going on with that knee, but that's not good.
Let's talk
scary,
about the Eagles too. They had an underrated draft again.
They always
Like,
have a good draft.
Oh, Jahad
Get a
Campbell.
Jahad Campbell in the first
They
round.
always get best player available somehow, bro. And the best player might be a mid first round player. They get him at pick 30 or some shit, bro. I'll be pissed.
Cowboys did that.
Getting Antoine Powell Ryland. Getting
Cowboys had a
who else?
good draft in the Eagles, bro.
Oh yeah,
They had a
definitely.
better
We're A+. Like when you
Yeah,
talk about
there
us
would've been a
getting
few plus.
Shavon Vavell. Oh, sorry.
It would have been B plus before the George Pickens, but after the George Pickens trade, easy A
Hey,
plus in my opinion.
when
Easy
you
A
talk
plus.
about getting a guy like Sharon Revell in the third, fourth round because
Hmm.
of injuries, they feel, but the man is a ball hawk, not ball hawk, a cool
No, he's a
lockdown
ball hawk.
corner,
He's a
ball
he's a
hawk,
ball hawk.
ball
Yeah.
hawk slash lockdown corner, bro. Like, come on, man, we got a steal there. Shamar Moore looking like a steal. Jaden Blue, if he can fix that fumbling problem, he's gonna be that guy. And then you got a guy like
Donovan
Tyler Booker.
Ezraku.
Donovan Ezraku, number second round. Which, hey, we actually got a funny thing, y'all. So a girl in the chat that we know, Cowboys, named Zaya, she had a cousin that got
Oh
drafted,
yeah.
and Donovan Ezraku was at the draft party. She talked to him, they were chatting it up, but he told her that he wasn't sure about that, and that the whole family's Eagle fans, and he was kind of like downplaying, saying like, "Hey, I guess we'll have to see." And then we've been seeing Donovan talk all this, rah rah. I was like, "Oh man, my uncle just tore all this Eagle shit down, and he about to be a Cowboys fan." So it was like, we're kind of like, not everybody. We see it as a joke, but it's almost like some niggas in the chat were like, "Oh my god, why are you talking all this other stuff? And you about to be a Cowboy?" But it won't matter once he put on that white and blue. You know what I'm saying? And that silver.
So
But that was just a funny thing.
the
So I'm gonna go listen. I
Eagles.
enjoyed talking to y'all, bro. I'll talk to y'all
Hey,
later.
well, no, stay.
Wow.
Well, it is. We have gone quite a bit over our expected time, so we will go ahead and end it here. It's good being back. We finally got back into doing the podcast. Damon will probably not be back.
I will be back next
Once
week.
he gets his CDL, he will be driving and potting.
He'll be back next year. He'll be back around this time next
Doing
year.
illegal stuff.
Guys, just keep on the lookout for Noah's vids because he will be continuing the draft status projection videos that he's been doing that have been a hit. You already know his highest one with Shedeur Sanders, and the next was Scam, Scatterboo, and all these other great videos. So keep on the look for that. And then also, we are 2 or 4 or 5 months from training camp. Then we got Hard Knocks, which I feel we will do some episode reviews. Maybe. Noah, I know Noah's the boss here, but I feel like we'll do some episode reviews of Hard Knocks. And then we get to the 2025-2026 NFL season with our new and improved Dallas Cowboys.
I have a
stay
lot of
tuned.
things.
Excited for the season.
I have a lot of things planned. I have a very ambitious project that I'm working on for the start of the NFL season, but I don't know if it'll work. But it's going to take a lot of editing, a lot of pain in the ass, and we'll see if it happens. But in the meantime, I will be releasing more videos on some different topics, and we'll see how they do. So other than that, guys, do we have anything else to add?
Look out for them boys this season. We just got a crazy duo. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well,